Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Rose.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
Welcome to our reaction and review for Nine Perfect Strangers Season 2, Episode 3. I'm enjoying this season a lot. I mean, it is weird. It is complicated. I mean, you can ask sometimes, okay, does it really need to be as weird as it is? But that's kind of the cost of admission here.
Absolutely. I mean, season 1 was really wacky with that as well, and now we're diving into things that are a little more specific and a little more seemingly controlled, even though we saw everything with Martin get a little bit out of control. But that's another part of the story going on with Martin and Masha, and that she should have been there and it all kind of got chaotic. But the idea here now is that this is supposed to be a more controlled environment, that you are able to pinpoint real memories with someone and spend time with them in a way that you want, instead of it just being random where it's like, oh, we drank this tea and now I'm seeing this person, but I don't really know what it's going to be about or where we're going to be in this memory or how they're going to react or what they're going to say. Masha is using this group of people to be able to really zone in with this treatment so that she can continue to treat herself.
It just feels like at some point, aren't these people gonna realize that, okay, maybe they know that she's using them on some level, but they're getting something else out of it because they're
Yes,
trying to
yes.
access their own memories. But it sort of just still feels like, what if this doesn't work for you guys? And what if you just sort of realize, okay, the selfishness that she's putting us through because of her and her own needs is going to be, it just feels like we're going to get it to a breaking point here. And just because people come to this retreat with certain aspirations, they're not going to get it. And I just feel like maybe it's because of the way season 1 ended. I just want to see everybody rise up against Masha and just have everything be as absolutely insane as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that we could end up there again. I mean, we did at the end of season 1 where her staff was turning on her and was just like, this is not okay. This is out of control. You're using these people to get to your own end. And, it ended up turning her into this huge celebrity. And now lots of people want a part of it. Other people are also still mad and serving her lawsuits, but
Yeah.
she's still able to maneuver around and find a way to continue her research until she can get to the next level and pinpoint it even further and get it even more controlled.
Okay, well, we have a lot to get into with that. Obviously, Agnes is going to be a big talking point here because she is the character who had the spotlight episode over the course of this. But before we do go forward into any of this, be sure to hit that subscribe button because, yeah, we are going to be here through the rest of Nine Perfect Strangers Season 2, talking about what happened, sharing some theories, and I'm really interested in this point, especially after we've gotten a couple of these backstories. Like,
Mhm.
what are some of the other ones going to look like? How are they going to fold onto each other? And is there going to be anything up there that causes the big Masha uprising that I've sort of designed in my head to happen?
Yeah, so be sure to hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss any of our Nine Perfect Strangers. And we also have Dexter Resurrection coming up. I mean, huge franchise. He's not dead, so we're getting more of it. Really exciting. That's coming up pretty soon. Also, over on our Patreon, we have Murderbot going on over there, as well as Criminal Minds Evolution, and it is the only place that you can get those video reviews. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined our Patreon. It really helps support us here at the channel.
Thank you guys so much. We very, very much appreciate that.
I am so excited about the Agnes story. I absolutely loved her and her story. See, for episode 1, episode 2. So I was actually surprised that we got her story so early on and how intense it was of what happened to her and why she is punishing herself, why she can't forgive herself. That whole scene in the church where they're smashing her head in the confessional.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was so intense.
It's a really good example of what happens when somebody who is so deeply committed to their faith starts to lose it and starts to spiral out because they feel like the institution of that faith no longer believes in them. And it was a very sad, very desperate, but very interesting story. I like you. I'm happy we got this storyline. I'm surprised it was this early just because it felt like with a lot of the other characters at the retreat, like you could have made the case that you give them to us earlier because she was kind of the big mystery of why is somebody a nun who doesn't really have a lot of money or resources in theory, like why are they here, this place that's kind of designed for the wealthy and people who are just sort of off on their own sort of mental plane.
Yeah, it was a huge mystery of why she was there and what she was going through, but we actually got this backstory where she was also a nurse and she was working with this pregnant woman and things were going really sideways, and she went and talked to another nun who was more superior and was like, "Okay, listen, I think that this woman is dying and we need to help her. So how do we go about doing this?" And her instruction was pray over them. And she did exactly what she was told, and they both ended up dying. And because of that, now Agnes has been carrying that with her because while she's a nun and also wants to help people, she is a nurse and also wants to help people. She's in these two vocations that are both about helping people, and that she felt that she really let this person down. And she's been kind of putting the blame on herself, but she's been
Yeah.
putting the blame on other people. The person that she went to be like, "What should we do?" "Oh, just pray over them." Is that really what we should do?" "Yes, that's what's going to end up happening." Okay, but she's really not known where to place this anger besides just herself. It's been on everybody. So this was really a journey for her to sit back and be like, the blame is entirely on me. Like, yeah, okay, this person said pray over her, but I didn't have to choose to do that. I could have chosen to do something else. I'm a nurse. I could have found another way to be able to save them, possibly. I could have done more. So, because of that, she has really been punishing herself. But the other aspect of it is that God has stopped speaking to her. She actually felt the presence of God when she became a nun in the first place. She heard the voice, she heard the calling. And after that, silence. Nobody's listening to her. No voices. She doesn't hear anything.
She felt abandoned, and abandonment can come in a lot of different ways, whether it is the idea of God's not speaking to her, whether it's the idea of others in the religion aren't speaking to her, whether it's everything that happened in the confessional room. And it's just, there's just all this emptiness that's kind of coming out of this. And this is really a story to me that was a lot about guilt, that was a lot about blame, that was a lot about how do you move forward after something like that. And I think it was epitomized like so well, and a concept as simple as a bed. And okay, does Agnes deserve to sleep in the bed? Does she need to sleep on the floor? The floor is the only place that she feels comfortable. And I think there's a lot of just subconscious, just I don't feel like I'm worth more than sleeping on the floor that's going on here.
Yeah, she's having a real difficulty not only with what happened, but also just losing her faith. That's like, oh, yeah, I was hearing God talking to me, and then I got this advice that I should be praying about it, and then I did it, and this person died, and now I don't hear God anymore. So I did the wrong thing. I'm being punished. I need to continue to punish myself. It was really nice to see that conversation after she gets arrested and
Yeah.
she's talking to Martin, where Martin's really like, "Man, I really let you down. Like, there was supposed to be two people here today, but there was only me. The group was too big. I really let you down." Where Agnes was like, "No, I really let myself down. And I was the person that was in charge of this person's safety, and I just let it all go, and I let this person die, and it's completely on me. There is no one to forgive me but me. I have to forgive myself, and I have to be okay with it, or I'm not okay with it. And these are the two roads that I can choose." So to watch her get into the bed,
Yeah.
it was really satisfying.
It was really satisfying, and it also poses this question to me. It's like, okay, you've gotten into the bed now. You're starting to work through some of what you've gone through, and
Yeah.
we've already seen that Brian is in this position after episode 2. So it's like, okay, now that you two are in this spot, what are you hoping to get out of this moving forward? And what is Masha hoping to get out of this moving forward? Because are you guys going to be more willing to undergo some, I don't know how we should call this, memory therapy, or
Mm.
like are
Yeah.
you better people to go through a testing process for her? It just sort of feels like we're at a point now where once somebody is kind of quote unquote helped, it can go a couple of different ways where they don't feel like they need anything more and they may try to peace out. And we saw in season 1 some people tried to peace out a little bit before Masha wanted them to, or they might feel so grateful that they're willing to go through everything. But I think there's a little bit of uncertainty there now.
Yeah, I mean, just because Agnes has had a breakthrough doesn't mean that she's helped or cured by any means. She's
Yeah.
had one big step here that's opened the door where she's moved from the floor to the bed, but I mean, cured, I don't think she's anywhere near there. So it feels like she will still have more to come through this as she continues to, forgive herself, work through things and move forward.
I just wonder if we're going to get to a point where some of these residents, shall we say, start to lean on each other a little bit more than lean on anything that Masha is doing. Because I think, like we said earlier, they all know inherently deep down that she's getting something out of this. And if you start to feel like somebody is helping you more with selfish purposes in mind, or is that enough to make you sort of think differently?
Here's the thing too is Masha's really absent in this. Like she is only focused on David in this episode. She didn't really do anything in the last episode.
Yeah.
She's been waiting for David because she does have an ulterior motive. She needs money, she needs investment, she needs to be able to continue to keep this program going. Here comes billionaire David that she's had a past relationship with. He is really the piece that she needs so that she can keep doing all of this. So we even had Victoria mention this where it's like Martin's taking them out to go and have this experience. And she's basically like, yeah, the B team is here. The understudy is here. Where is Masha? Like, this is why I am here to have the Masha experience and I'm getting the understudy.
Yeah, it's got to be frustrating if you go all the way out. It's sort of like you book an appointment with a doctor and then you show up and it's not the doctor at all. It's maybe just somebody who has looked at your case file for 5 seconds and you have no idea who this person is.
Yes, absolutely.
Like it's got to be a really, really frustrating thing if you're going through all of this and this is what you get on the other side. I do
Yeah.
have a little bit of resort advice for Masha at this point when it comes to how she's dealing with David. I know you're wanting to cut off a lot of his communication, shall we say. Why don't you just hire Pam from the White Lotus to show up with her big bag and make him put all the stuff in the bag?
Yeah, I mean, just take it away. This is a place with no cell phones. Give me your phone. And that's just the way that it is. I mean, maybe David wouldn't have shown up. Maybe
Yeah.
he'll just leave. Who knows, right?
It just feels like at times Masha is a little bit too obsessed with the mind games where it's just like, okay, there's another way you could have gone about this. Like David doesn't feel like a dummy. I feel like he's gonna
No.
see through some of what you're trying to do here.
Yes, which is why it was great that that final scene was him just flipping her off at the camera because he's not a dummy. He knows what she's done, where it's like, okay, she's jammed my phone calls. I have to participate in at least what she's doing for the day. They go for this polar dip. He almost dies. She saves him, brings
Yeah.
them to this, random room and is like, I can continue to save you if you'll just kind of open up to it. And it turns out it's Peter's room where Peter comes in at the end of the night and it's a uncontrolled meeting between them, something that David is not used to, Peter is not used to.
Yeah.
The interaction is very much shows that where it's like an awkward hug. Yeah, it's good
Mhm.
to see you. I'll see you in the morning. All of that. But David looking at the camera at the end and flipping her off is very much, I know what you're doing. Yeah, it's working. Okay, I'll deal with it, but I know.
I know, and I don't necessarily like it. Okay, this is the big thing that's in my craw with this season so far. It's just that whether it's Martin or whether it's David, why do you guys either want to work with Masha or give Masha money? Because this is somebody who, as you've already pointed out, has a lot of lawsuits already. It's like,
Yep.
David, you are extremely rich. Yeah, you might be getting something out of this. There has to be at least 2 million things you can do with your money. Include give me your money. I know you're fictional, but that would still be a better use than working with Masha, who is probably going to drain all your money.
Yeah, my tinfoil hat theory is that Masha is really gonna break through with David in a way that is so significant that he is going to want to invest in this. And then if we do get another season, it'll be even more controlled in that way, but out of control in other ways that we will, the first season was just like, oh, it's all an experiment. This season is more like, okay, we have a certain mix of things so that you can focus in on certain memories. Next season, I mean, I don't know what they're going to be able to do to make it like, is just her dead daughter with her all the time now. And she just is like living her life with her kid.
I feel like we're getting closer to that, and then she's just gonna end up full on dissociating, and maybe the whole end game for Nine Perfect Strangers is that the only person who can take down Masha is Masha, where other people might be getting something from her. But if she ever just figures out a way that she can conjure up any memory of her daughter, and her daughter's just around full time, or she can bring her daughter and create memories in the present, or whatever it
Yeah.
might be, she's not actually going to be able to help anybody anymore. She's just going to be off in her own little delusion world, and then this is all just going to end.
Yeah, I think that they're aware that they're kind of being used, but they don't care because they are getting something out of it. Or at least some people seem to be getting something out of it. Brian seems to be getting
Yeah.
something out of it. Agnes is getting something out of it. Tina is not getting anything out of it. Watching her have that bad reaction to the tea, I was just like, same. That would not be working out very well for me. I would also have a stomach ache and be rolling
Yeah.
around on the floor and be like, get me out of here.
There's not a lot of clinical testing that has gone on with some of this stuff. And that's also another reason why I would never go to one of these things. Like, you don't know if this is going to work for you. And I mean, maybe it ends up working for Tina eventually, and there's just some prolonged side effects or whatever, but
Yeah.
there's never a guarantee. I mean, look at how big of a sample size we're talking here. I mean, maybe this is all some other elaborate game so that her sickness or whatever's going on, is that a way to bring her and Wolfie closer together? And is
Mhm.
that part of what it's like? Maybe, but at the same time, the idea of initiating suffering in one person to try to bring closure, like, that's still messed up, and I still just don't like it.
I also feel like there's too many end of life stories going on here because the person who owns the hotel is like coughing up blood and seems like she's like, oh yeah, when I'm gone, I really want you, Martin, as well as Masha, to be running this place and continuing to run these types of treatments for people. I'm like, okay, so she's seemingly dying. And then we also have Victoria, who has an end of life book that she's got with her. So seemingly she's also dying.
I can't. That's the thing with Victoria is the character I really just don't understand that much at all, and I think that's
They're
intentional.
saving her.
They're clearly saving her. We're clearly going to get some good stuff. Like, I think she does, on some weird level, care about her daughter, but I think she cares about her daughter through the lens of the daughter that I want as opposed to the daughter that I give. So she's kind of doing her own sort of Masha like projection here, except that she's doing it with a person who's actually real and present.
She may also just be, if she is at end of life, that she just wants to do all the things that are on her bucket list that may not involve her daughter. And that's just the way that it is. It's not that she doesn't love her daughter. She doesn't want to spend time with her daughter, but that maybe her daughter is just asking for more than she's willing to give at the end of her life, where she is being selfish about it, where she's like, this is the last bit of time that I have. I will spend some time with Imogen, but I also want to spend some time with this hot guy Mateo. I also want to be out having a drink. I want to be doing everything that I can possibly be doing at this point because my time is limited.
Yeah, and this is where, okay, I don't want to look like I'm being the fun police, but I'm still going to put on the uniform and get into the car for a moment because I know some of you might come for me for this. I don't know if I needed the foot slapping montage between Imogen and Peter to last as long as it did, where it was like
No.
the first time I got it, I was like, okay, this is interesting and weird. They're having their own side effects, if you will, but it was like, oh, we're going back to this again. Oh, I understand that Annie Murphy is one of the most game people to do weird things that has ever lived. I mean, we've both seen the Joan is Awful episode of Black Mirror. She
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
do literally whatever you tell her to, but it just felt like it kind of got a little gimmicky at a certain point. And it was like, I understand what you guys are doing. You're trying to break Imogen out of her shell a little bit because she's very closed off and defines what her life is, but I don't need this much of it.
Yeah, and I mean, they did a good job with breaking her out, but yeah, it went on a little bit long. But I really wish that there was more explanation of why she was having such a bad time or a bad attitude with Brian. I mean, they talked about it very little, that she was like, oh yeah, I used to watch the show
Yeah.
longer than I should have. Like, it was important to me. So when everything went sideways, I was so mad about it. And that's why she's being upset with Brian. maybe like it felt like there was got to be something deeper than Brian went off the deep end and flipped a table when a child was having, a breakdown on TV and adults were being rude. Like he got canceled for this, but at the same time I was like, I don't blame you, Brian. Yeah, you should have been able to rein it in a little bit, but you were protecting somebody who needed being protected.
I think the problem is ultimately that it feels like the producers were a little bit too scared to do anything too drastic when it comes to why Brian was canceled, because I think they wanted to create this just idea on this show that they could turn this character around. And if they made this character do something even more egregious that would cause them to be canceled further, then it would be harder to then redeem him on the other side. But the problem is, it's just that, yeah, kind of like with you, I understand if she might have been upset with Brian over him losing his mind and maybe a part of her childhood being destroyed, but the people who I used to like who have been canceled, I guess, for things in media, they were all really good reasons where I would never want to support them again. If it was somebody who, yeah, you lost your mind and you did a bad thing, like I would probably come back around to you
Yeah.
eventually, as long as I saw that, okay, you've apologized, you've been accountable, you're trying to make some effort to try to do better. It still feels like Brian helped a lot of kids at a very vulnerable spot in their lives.
Yeah, I just feel like the Imogen Brian connection didn't actually need to be on this show at all. Imogen has enough going on that's making her upset, uptight, anxious with her mother. It's enough of a story.
Yeah, it feels like they're just really wanting us to think a lot about connections and think about how these people are all tied to each other and whether or not this matters. Like, I'm sure it was deliberate that Masha chose the people that she chose. Like, she's got a rhyme and reason for everything. And I'm thinking she probably felt like this specific group of people, for whatever reason, if I sort of take emotional elements out of them, I'm concocting basically the perfect potion that I can then take that's going to help me achieve my end goal. It's sort of a little bit like, we covered Severance a lot
Mhm.
earlier this year. And at a certain point in that, what I sort of thought was that Severance and the people at Lumen were like trying to make the perfect worker by taking different personality elements out of different people. And that was a lot of the work that was being done. I think that is the work that Masha is trying to do. And she just thinks she needs very specific people for it. But does the people who are at the retreat, like, do they all care? Should they care?
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of the reason that Agnes is there is, there was some fame with her where some people are like, "Oh, I know you. I know the work that you've done. You're well known as a nun and what you've been doing." That works out really well for Masha if Agnes is able to be cured through what she's doing because there's a bit of fame around that. It's even the same billionaire David. Yeah, you want some of that money. That's true, but also famous. There's a lot of that goes with it, and it will help make everything she's doing more valid because they'll be like, oh, this famous person did it. Oh, this well-known nun did this. Okay, well then maybe there's something to this.
The biggest thing I'm curious about moving into the rest of the season, and really it's not like there's that much left. This is a pretty short season, all things considered, is how long do you spend giving us the individual backstories on these people versus how long do you let them all go off the rails? Like, I feel like by episode 7, we kind of just need to have the table set and it's just all gas, no brakes the rest of the way.
Mhm.
But that is where we are coming out of Nine Perfect Strangers season 2, episode 3. What are you guys thinking about the season so far? These individual characters, where do you think we're heading? Let us know in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and yeah, support us more by joining our Patreon. We have that link in the description. We are covering there exclusively in video form Criminal Minds Evolution, Murderbot. Thank you so much. We'll see you here next time.